So I wanted to share with you guys what it's like, what my heart truly feels, and what I do in moments where I feel a particular weight on my shoulders. I'm not sure if my screen will show it. I don't think so. But what I like to do at times when particularly the when particularly my mind and my heart is in a place where it's feeling the weight of the world. At night, I like to come outside. I like to suffer a little in the cold, and I like to look at the stars. The reason I like to suffer a little in the cold is because it reminds me of my place in the world. I look up at the stars and I see the grandness, the beauty, the majesty of this universe and of God. And it reminds me that despite my continued failures, my shortcomings, my undeservedness, that God still chooses to love me. And it is that love, despite not deserving it, that truly is the source of hope. It's the source of hope in all circumstances that I experience, and it's the source of peace in all things that I do. As I walk through life, you try to get on top of things. You try. But sometimes you find yourself not on top of things. And in those times, there is no ability to explain yourself. You have to simply draw close to God. I honestly do feel like this world is in a place where I honestly don't understand how people can live their daily life without feeling the call of God. When people want to question, or when people question me as to why I believe such a thing, I hear people talk about the lunacy or the ridiculousness or the mocking of God. And my heart goes to a place where I am almost baffled that people don't feel God calling them to be in connection with Him. I don't know how you get through life thinking that all life is simply a flash in the pan of existence. Yes, we have no memory of being before this existence. We have no memory of what it was before birth. And I understand why people think that when they die, that they will have no memory and it will cease to exist and they will be at peace. But my heart tells me, my human experience tells me something different. When I look to the stars as I am right now, I see a universe that was created. I don't see a universe that is an accident. I don't see a big bang that came without a cause. I don't see life developing from non-life. And then when I look at the evidence of what exists in this world, the historical evidence, I see a book written with 66 books by 40 authors. I see a book that claims things, that claims to be with the Word of God. Now, of course, the Word of God does not manifest itself. You don't need to be convinced that that is the Word of God, because this book is unlike any other. There's not another book in existence that has authors, 40 authors across 66 books, across continents, across time periods, that comes together like this. This book grabs your attention in a way that is different from anything else. Is this a reason to believe in God alone? No. But it's something to consider worth reading. Now, when you find yourself reading this, you'll see that in texts written long before Jesus arrived on this earth, texts written claimed that someone would come. God showed himself the ability to speak prophecy through these authors, these human authors on different continents of different professions, and speak prophecy of someone, a Messiah, that would come. Jesus came and fulfilled over 300 prophecies that were written centuries before his existence. Perfectly, he filled 300 prophecies. Now, is this enough evidence now to start to think, well, yes, I believe that this is the Word of God? Maybe, maybe not for some. But it's starting to get very close. It's starting to get to a point where you have to start to pay attention. Jesus fulfilled 300 prophecies written from texts before he even existed. And then once he existed, he not only existed to Christian authors, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, he existed to authors outside of that. We know he existed as a man in history. And what he claimed was to be God's Son himself. He said, before Abraham existed, I am. The Jewish people at the time knew exactly what he was saying, and they wanted to stone him and crucify him for blasphemy. They knew exactly what he was claiming, that he claimed to be God and God's Son. We know he was crucified. We know that his followers all went to death for claiming after his death and resurrection that they witnessed this man, Jesus, doing exactly that. They witnessed him resurrecting from the dead. All of his followers who claim this, with the exception of John, went to horrific deaths. They were crucified themselves. They were sawn in half. They died horrific deaths. There was nothing for them to gain. Yet they all honored this. Now, is this enough reason to believe? Maybe. For some, yes. Maybe for others, still not enough. But for me, the evidence is so much there that this is a reason to believe that the historical texts written about this occurrence are real. People don't go to death for a lie. There was no monetary gain. There was nothing to gain other than honoring the truth that they witnessed. Now, this text, this book, this 66 books compiled together forms the Bible. And when you open your heart to this existence, to the Bible being real, to what Jesus did and claimed to be real, life changes. Peace enters your heart. And looking up at the stars, you feel it. Life does get hard. Life throws things at you. Circumstances, people, work, loss of loved ones. It all happens. It all will happen. It is all inevitable. The only way that I find peace through all of this, and it's true peace, I am not lying. It is true peace that I feel in times like this. And the only reason I have that peace is because I believe what Jesus said. In my heart, I believe what Jesus said to be true and real, and he is God's son, and he is coming back, and God is watching, and this whole universe was created by him. This peace is special. This peace is greater than anything I have ever experienced. This peace is a treasure beyond anything I can possibly desire. This peace is there on offer for every single one of us. Religion, Christianity, has its downfalls. It has been used as an excuse for horrific things. I will be the first person to agree with you that Christianity, or under the name of Christianity, many atrocities have been committed. But this is not what I am talking about. I am not talking about the examples of men in this world who are corrupt, who seek gain for themselves and use a faith as an excuse for gain. This is not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about denomination. I'm not talking about law, religious text. I am talking about the fact that every one of us is made in the image of God and feels a connection to eternity. Nobody feels genuinely like they are going to just no longer exist. There is an innate existence in us. Our soul knows it will live forever. We have been created that way. Do not choose to live separately from God. God doesn't send anyone to hell. He's done everything possible to bridge the gap so we can get back to him after we have rebelled. Recognize this in your heart. Feel it and recognize that you are created in God's image. You have value. We are not just simply random matter and energy that has been created out of the result of a random chance occurrence that came from nothing. There is more faith required to believe in such ludicrous nonsense that from nothing came you, came me, came everything in this universe in perfect balance. From nothing, nothing comes from nothing. That is the only thing that will ever come from nothing. But you have value. You have ethical value. You understand on your heart what is right and what is wrong. This comes from our God. Feel that, accept that, and open the door. Yeah. So I like to do this. Every now and then I like to do this. Sit outside and look at the sky and be cold. I feel closer to God when I do it. I feel peace. And I feel like I have an ability to love beyond what I would if I tried to manage this life in my own head. My body is in rebellion to my mind. My mind tries to tell my body what to do, and my body objects and does what it wants to do. Okay, and my mind tries to pull it into check. My mind is in rebellion to my soul. My soul wants to connect to God. But my mind is greedy, my mind is sinful. My mind says I can do it better. And my soul begs my mind to just stop. Just connect to God. But this constant battle between my body, mind, and soul exists, and I can never get it right. And yet, I know I'm loved by God. I know He died so I could be in connection with Him. When you realize this, you will have a peace. You will have a bravery. You will fear nothing in this world any longer. My honest prayer is that every single one of you feels that feeling. May God's blessing be on you all. And may you look to the stars and recognize the glory and majesty that He brings to this world.